Hi, so I'm Kate Todd. I'm the Quality Assurance and Compliance Manager for Cream Care. We've been working with Care Vision since just before Christmas 2022.
How did you find the onboarding process?
The onboarding was, I think, initially a little bit daunting. There's a lot of information, obviously, that we needed to get across to Care Vision from our existing system, but the team at Care Vision were really helpful, supporting us with that. So it worked with a set of migration files. The team supported us to get the information together, send it across to them, and they uploaded the information into the system for us. And then from our end, it was more of a case of then just making sure that information was all up to date when we went live with the system.
How did you find the on-site training?
The on-site training was really good. I think because we'd previously transitioned to another digital care provider in previous years, we had some experience of how that works. So we were a little bit equipped for it, but it went really well. So we had most of our senior management team, managers and senior carers on the training. We did decide not to have the carers involved at that point, just because of the way that we're set up and in terms of releasing carers from their sort of day-to-day role. So we also worked with Care Vision to train our staff sort of in-house with our training manager, and that worked really well as well. We also used the support tools with the 30-minute tutorials and sessions post the training, which again was really, really helpful to pick up some of the detail that we'd maybe hadn't all taken on board during the training, just because there's a lot of information that you're being made aware of at that point.
And how are you finding the support tools that are in place with Care Vision?
The support is really, really good with Care Vision. We have a chat function that we're able to use on a daily basis, which I do use on a daily basis. But the team are always really, really helpful. If they don't know the answers on the chat function, they will escalate that back to their development and support teams, and they come back to us really quickly. What I would also say is if there are ever any technical issues or parts of the system maybe that don't fit with what we need or we would like to have redeveloped, they have been incredibly responsive to that. The domain that we're within, learning disability sector, they're developing a lot of different tools for us as well that are specific to what we do, and they're really honest with us about the timelines of those developments, and have been really spot on with that. So where we're told maybe that it's going to come out in a couple of months, it comes out in a couple of months, which has been absolutely amazing.
Why did you move away from your last provider?
So we went digital with our care management system about 4 or 5 years ago, and for us we'd gone from a completely paper-based system to an electronic system. So that move was massive for us. We had to obviously embed the culture and the principles of electronic data recording, but also we had to equip the teams with the equipment, the IT support, the Wi-Fi, all those sorts of things. So for us, it was a massive undertaking, and the company we chose at that point was renowned for its person-centered care management system. And it did work really well for us for a long time, especially as we began to develop our sort of first steps into the electronic recording. But I think what we found is because we had the ability to personalise every aspect of the system ourselves, we had created lots and lots of different forms and processes, and it became very unwieldy for us. And then we were not able to really use the information once it was in the system. So although we could report on it, it was quite complex to get the information back out, and it was quite complex to then use that in any meaningful way in terms of making any kind of pattern analysis, trends, graphs, anything like that from our own perspective. So we've struggled with that for quite some time. And the fact that it's not really generating the data that we need. We have gone back to our provider to sort of look at those and get some resolution around that. But unfortunately, at this point, they haven't been able to come up with some solutions for us. So we started looking about a year ago, and we were looking primarily at providers that were on the NHS sponsored providers list for the digital care records. And there's only sort of 6 or 8 providers on that list. Care Vision was one of those. We looked at the other providers and what they were doing as well. But when we met with the team at Care Vision, obviously it was quite daunting thinking about a move from a provider we'd been with, and we were sort of thinking we wouldn't find anything that encouraged us to make the move. But when we saw the system, just the way it can be personalized in terms of the building from the carer side of things. The fact that as you put the information in, it's very pictorial, it's icon based. It does away with a lot of the need for typing or writing. It felt really intuitive as well. So the things that we would sort of, if we were building it ourselves, the things that we would build ourselves were there already, the flows of information. So as we were watching the demos and talking to the team and asking questions, every question we had was sort of naturally answered in a really obvious and intuitive way. And I think it made it really obvious the things that we had worked around with our current provider. So we'd made lots and lots of adaptations to try and make the system work for us. Whereas I think it became evident when we looked at Care Vision that actually the system was designed to work for the care teams. And I think that's what sold us really.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Kate. Give me 2 words that you love about Care Vision.
I would say the responsiveness and the intuitiveness of the system. That's about 8 words.